America is shocked and saddened by the brutal slaying tonight of Dr. Martin Luther King. I ask every citizen to reject the blind violence that has struck Dr. King, who lived by nonviolence.
When I learned about the assassination, I was scared, I was frightened, I was worried about the country. I think I was wondering, is it a white person who shot Dr. King? Would there be racial conflict? I mean, the year before in 1967, there were riots everywhere in Harlem, in Newark, in Detroit. And I was thinking, living in the Bronx, which was pretty mixed neighborhood, I was said, is it going to be violence? Even at the tender young age of 17, I think I remember thinking that something has changed, something sad has happened to this country, and it's something that is not going to get better. It's going to probably get worse before it gets better, because the thought of a nonviolent person, a person who preached nonviolence, who dies, who is the victim of violence, was just horrific. One of my most emotional and poignant memories of April 4th, 1968. And I don't remember this at the time because I just wasn't either watching TV that night or whatever. But Bobby Kennedy, a new candidate in the race for 3 weeks, he was campaigning in Indianapolis, Indiana, in advance of the May 7th Democratic primary. So it's a month before the Indiana primary. And he was campaigning before an African American audience. And he was the one who told these black voters that I have an announcement to make. Dr. King was murdered. And you hear a gasp.
I have some very sad news for all of you, and that is that Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis. Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort.
Not everybody loved Bobby Kennedy. The Gene McCarthy people resented the fact that he got in the race. But at the same time, I think there was an amazing decency and kindness to him that I've seen in very, very few politicians. And this is not because I'm a Democrat, because I'm not. It's not because I'm a liberal. I just believe in decency and caring and human rights. And Kennedy really had that. So the fact is, here he is talking about violence that took Dr. King before a black audience in Indiana. And he's talking about that, look, violence took my brother as well, John F. Kennedy, in 1963, 5 years earlier, less than 5 years earlier.
I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. I had a member of my family killed, but he was killed by a white man. But we have to make an effort in the United States. We have to make an effort to understand, to get beyond or go beyond these rather difficult times.
So that speech, you almost see the welling up of emotion in Bobby, because he was the victim and his family was the victim of violence, and the African American community became a victim of violence. Not to say that they haven't been a victim of violence in many other instances, but that night especially, when the apostle, the leader of nonviolence, is gunned down in the streets, in Memphis. So it was a very emotional moment. And when I think of Bobby Kennedy, great moments, and I say great as far as historically great, that was a very telling moment for me, thinking of Bobby Kennedy that night.